Lauren London is appearing on many viewers' TV screens recently with her starring role in the Netflix comedy You People alongside Jonah Hill. However, she's no stranger to Hollywood, and not only has she been acting since 2006, she's appeared in a handful of music videos and has some very famous exes. Tragically, one of those exes with whom she shares a son is the late rapper Nipsey Hussle, who was killed in 2019, and they were partners still at the time, no doubt being a hard blow for Lauren. In terms of her career, she made her TV debut in an episode of Everybody Hates Chris and appeared as Erin in the movie ATL the same year. There's likely a lot you don't know about Lauren London, so today we'll dive into her early life, rise to fame, and more here for you on Famous Life. Lauren Nicole London was born December 5, 1984, in the city of Los Angeles, California. A second-generation Angelino, Lauren's African-American mother's side of the family migrated from Mississippi before shifting to Chicago and then finally LA, where her mom was born. Lauren's father, on the other hand, is Jewish, but because her parents divorced when she was only 3 years old, Lauren's exposure to that side of her family is much more limited. Following his departure to Las Vegas, Lauren would only see him on summer visits once a year. She explained to People's Everyday podcast, "I just grew up with my mother in my household. I didn't grow up with my dad living with us, so my experience is of my mother's experience because I just grew up with a single black mom." Thankfully, Lauren's mom was the most optimistic person she knew, which was a good thing because as an only child, Lauren often found herself feeling alone. It didn't help matters that she and her mom moved around a whole lot, which made making friends difficult. But at the very least, Lauren got to experience every nook and cranny of LA. To this day, Lauren still remembers riding through the jungle as a little girl to visit her aunt, hanging out with a few friends after an audition, and grabbing something to eat at Tito's Tacos after school. She also recalls that on the day the Rodney King verdict was announced, Lauren's mom moved them into her grandmother's place in Pasadena. With her circle of friends being relatively small, Lauren found escape in the world of movies, and starting from around 7 years old, she began writing plays and acting out all the parts in her bedroom. According to Lauren, she was never interested in becoming famous. She just loved exploring her imagination. Some of her favorite films were the classics My Fair Lady, Waiting to Exhale, and Funny Girl. In fact, the star of Funny Girl, Barbra Streisand, was her favorite actress. As a half-black, half-Jewish girl, Lauren appreciated that Barbara didn't look like what most people believe a glamorous actress should look like. Being teased for her appearance was something Lauren could relate to because her own family members would ridicule her for being different. Her cousins on her mom's side would tease her for not being black enough, and when she'd go to Vegas to spend the summer with her dad, she'd be the token black girl wherever she went. After years of struggling with how that made her feel, Lauren eventually found solace in crafting her own identity. She described this moment of epiphany in an interview, stating, "I struggled for about a minute with that. Then I figured it out for myself. What it has done for me is I don't care what people think about my identity. If someone thinks I'm not black enough, that's their issue. I'm okay with who I am, and that's what it is. I'm a black woman like my mother, and I love who my father is, and I love both sides of me." During her time at Palisades Charter High School, Lauren's social circle began to explode, and many of the peers she met over the next few years would go on to make their marks in the world of entertainment, in particular hip-hop, with artists like Lil Wayne, Pusha T, and Pharrell, all of whom she's known since she was a teen. All of this is to say that once high school was over and Lauren was ready to shoot her shot at entering the world of entertainment, there's a reason she got her start as a video vixen. Lauren London's career began with appearances in music videos like the Neptunes' 2003 hit Frontin', as well as further hits by tracks like Tyrese, Ludacris, and even Snoop Dogg's Drop It Like It's Hot. But most audiences' initial exposure to her skills as an actress came to the film titled ATL, where she memorably starred as New in the coming-of-age cult classic. At the time she booked that role, Lauren had just gotten fired from her 9-to-5 job in LA 2 months earlier. With her last $100, she signed up for acting lessons so she could land the audition for ATL. Even though with practically zero acting experience, she was a definite underdog. Nonetheless, she was committed to succeed and described how serious she was to Complex, telling them, "They didn't even want to see me for the role. I just went in with my back against the wall like, F it, this is me and this is what I have to offer." Lauren nailed her first audition, and from there, she went on to screen test next to her co-star in the film T.I. After the producers got a glimpse of their chemistry together, the role was hers. But even though she was determined to earn her spot in the film, Lauren had no idea how ATL would change the course of her career. Before her experiences on the film, she didn't know how to walk red carpet, she didn't know how to pose, or even how to answer interview questions. It became more or less the equivalent of a Hollywood boot camp, and Lauren felt her way through the process, graduating with flying colors. After shooting that film throughout 2005, it released in 2006. The same year, Lauren also popped up in an episode of Everybody Hates Chris. With that 1-2 punch, Lauren officially landed on the industry's radar, and for the next few years, she'd star or co-star in films like This Christmas, I Love You Beth Cooper, and Tyler Perry's Medea's Big Happy Family, as well as TV projects like 90210 and the final few seasons of Entourage. Sometime around 2009, Lauren's relationship with her childhood friend Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., aka Lil Wayne, went to the next level, and Lauren gave birth to their son Cameron Carter in September of that year. Still, their relationship was not meant to last. She explained why in the past, saying, "We tried more than once to revive it, and we were engaged briefly years ago, but we eventually parted ways. People see the Lil Wayne persona and think they know who he really is. My son's father is an intelligent, loving, and lovable person who will always be a dear friend. That is all." After moving on from Lil Wayne, Lauren met Nipsey Hussle in 2013, right around the time he famously sold 1,000 copies of his Crenshaw mixtape for $100 each. In fact, Lauren was one of those people who bought copies of the project, picking up some as gifts for her cast members on her BET TV series The Game. Following this initial meeting, Lauren started following Nipsey on Instagram. He followed her back and slid into her DM. Shortly after, these two began a life together, with their son Cross being born in August 2016. At the time they had crossed, Lauren had been offered a role in the TV series Snowfall, but she decided to decline the opportunity so she could start her family. Unfortunately, not long after that, she'd lose one of them. In March 2019, Nipsey Hussle was outside his Marathon clothing store in LA when he was shot and killed by an associate of his, Eric Holder. Holder would eventually be found guilty of the crime, but his violent attack had left Lauren without a partner and her children without a father. So is it any surprise that following this tragic event, Lauren decided to step back from her acting career? The one thing that healing requires more than anything else is time. In the years since Nipsey's death, London did what she could to work her way through it. A difficult thing, to say the least, as she described to the LA Times. "I think when really hard things happen to people, it's just hard to think that life will ever be sweet again, so that's something I'm learning again, is how to do that." After months spent grieving, when Lauren was finally ready to work again, she wasn't looking for any old gig. Whatever role she booked next would have to be the right one, which is why when she received a text from Michael B. Jordan asking her to consider a role in his Amazon film Without Remorse, Lauren returned to play Jordan's wife, who's murdered by Russian operatives and sets the film's plot into motion. She explained what attracted her to this role, telling the LA Times, "I really related with him, his character, his pain and his sadness. I was like, wow, here I am in the depths of my grief, and there's a project I can give something to." Since then, Lauren has also appeared in the Netflix series True Story, co-starring Kevin Hart, as well as the film You People alongside Jonah Hill, which allowed her to explore her Jewish roots like never before. It's kind of amazing that someone clearly as self-reflective as Lauren London is still learning new things about herself to this very day, and I still think that it should inspire the rest of us to do the same. But as for where Lauren takes her career from here, well, we will just have to wait and see. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Famous Life and leave a comment for who you'd like us to feature next.